Hello and welcome back to Global Perspectives. I hope everyone had a good summer. This is our next video tutorial for the grade 12 research paper, and this will focus on methodology. The lesson objectives for this video tutorial will be to review the purpose of the methods section, review different types of data and methods, explain what should be included in the methods section and its structure, and practice selecting best methods for research. Now let's begin this tutorial by discussing the purpose of the methods section. The methods section provides information by which the validity of a paper can be judged. This is done by providing background details about the data and where it came from. The methods section also provides details about how the data was used in your research and how your research was conducted. And finally, the methods section explains the rationale for the research. So basically, you have a chance to justify why you chose to conduct the research the way you did. This is a very important part of the research paper, as it lets your reader know you selected the best methods for research along with reliable data. As we learned last year, selecting reliable data from credible sources helps to avoid problems like bias in your research and helps lead to sound results. Next, we'll move on to a review of data and information. Last year we focused on two different types of data. The first type of data was qualitative. This involves the analysis of things like words, pictures, or objects. The second type of data was quantitative. This involves the analysis of numerical data and statistics. Basically anything you can quantify, numbers for example. In the grade 12 research paper, you are free to use either type of data. Moving on, we will now review methods of research. We focus on two kinds of research methods: primary or first-hand research and secondary or second-hand research. Primary research involves investigations that provide new information. You can collect this information by conducting interviews, questionnaires, surveys, observations, or experiments. With primary research, you will be collecting and analyzing your own information. Secondary research involves the evaluation and analysis of information that has already been gathered. This information may have been gathered by students, scientists, teachers, researchers, or various organizations. It is important to remember that with secondary research, you will analyze existing information. In the grade 12 paper, you are free to choose primary research, secondary research, or a combination of both. No matter which research method you select, it should help you answer your research questions effectively. As mentioned earlier, the methods section is very important in establishing the validity of your paper. You need to make sure you include certain information in the methods section. First, you need to describe the research methods that were selected for the study. You don't need to go too in-depth, but you should include certain details. For example, if you conducted an interview or questionnaire, you should include how many people were included and perhaps demographic information. Next, you need to describe the data or information that was used in the study. This includes how it was obtained and where it came from. This step is very important as it helps the reader know that you used credible and reliable sources for your research. Next, you need to justify why you chose specific data and why certain methods were selected. Remember, the methods section is where the validity of the research is judged. If you can't justify why you chose to use certain data or why you chose to use a certain method, then this will affect the validity of your research. You should state with confidence the reasons behind selecting your methods and data. And finally, you should explain how the data was analyzed and used to help answer research questions. Please pause the video at this point to review the example and proceed when you feel comfortable. We will now move on to the structure of the methods section. The methods section should be presented using one of two structures, based either on different methods used or research questions. In the first example, we'll look at how to structure a methods section based on various methods used in the research. In this example, The first method that was used was an interview. So in the method section, we'll list the interview as the first method. And then we'll proceed to go on to describe details about the data and research. For example, primary research and qualitative data were obtained. The second method used was a questionnaire, and you can proceed to describe details about the data and research. In this case, primary research and quantitative data were obtained. The third method used was internet research. And as we can see here, we can go on to describe details about the data and research. For example, secondary research and qualitative data. And we can take that a step further by explaining what we did with the data. So in this case, we compared expert opinions. If you choose to structure your methods section in this fashion, to stay organized, a helpful tip is to group the methods by research type. So for example, method 1 and method 2 are both primary research, and method 3 is secondary research. The second option you have in terms of structuring your methods section is to structure it based on research questions. In this example, we can see that the method section is structured based on research question. First, we have a little information about the first research question, followed by information about the methods pertaining to the question. So how was that question answered? What data did you use? What methods did you select? This is followed by the second research question. And again, you can provide information about the methods relating to the second research question, such as where did the data come from, why did you select the methods, etc. You can choose whichever structure you'd like for your methods section, but it's important to be consistent. Once you choose a structure, stick with it. Don't change between the two structures. The final section of today's lesson will focus on selecting the best method for a research interest. The first example we will look at is Katie, and she is interested in music styles and fashion and researching the relationship between the two. Katie believes that changes in fashion lead to corresponding changes in music genres around the world. So basically, Katie thinks fashion comes first and then music follows fashion. What is the best method of research for Katie to use in this case? What type of data should she try to acquire? Please take some time and think about what advice you would give Katie to help her out with her research. The next example is Tony, and Tony is interested in tourism and sanitation. Tony believes that the cleaner a city is, the more tourists it will attract. Again, please take some time and think about what advice you can give Tony to help him out with his research. What is the best research method for Tony to select, and what type of data should he be trying to obtain? We will look at both of these examples in class a little further to discuss what method you selected to help each person out with their research. To review today's lesson objectives, first we reviewed the purpose of the methods section. We then reviewed different types of data and methods. We explained what should be included in the methods section and its structure, and we had some practice selecting best methods for research. Thank you for your attention, and I will see you soon.